Welcome to The Explainer. Okay, let's just dive right in. When we talk about vaccines, we usually assume the biggest question is, how do we get more people to take them? But what if the way we've been studying that question is actually missing a huge piece of the puzzle? Well, according to scholar Anna Kirkland, the academic research on this topic is surprisingly lopsided. It's heavily skewed, with almost all of it pointing down one single track, laser focused on one specific outcome. And that one goal, promoting vaccination, has pretty much come to dominate the entire conversation. Now, that's an important goal, for sure. But in the process, it leaves a lot of other crucial perspectives and deeper questions completely in the shadows. And when you see it like this, the imbalance is just, wow, it's stark. The vast majority of research is all about finding the right levers to pull to change behavior, to get those rates up. Meanwhile, far, far fewer studies are trying to understand the really complex stories, the histories, and the social meanings behind that behavior. This dominant way of thinking is often called the instrumentalist view, and it's pretty much what it sounds like. It treats law as a straightforward instrument, like a hammer or a wrench you'd use to fix a public health goal. The go-to method for this approach is something called legal epidemiology. At its core, it's about using quantitative data to measure how different laws affect health outcomes. The logic is really direct. If we change a law, do the vaccination numbers change with it? And look, this method gives us some useful data, no doubt. But here's the crucial point. It leaves out a huge part of the story, doesn't it? It ends up treating people's really complex personal choices as just a simple problem to be solved with the right legal lever, without ever really asking why they're making those choices in the first place. But what if hesitancy isn't even the right word? There's a whole other group of scholars, feminist sociologists, anthropologists, who are asking a much deeper question. They're moving away from seeing law as a simple tool, and instead, they're diving right into the messy, fascinating territory of human experience. This quote from Nicole Charles just nails the shift. It suggests that people's feelings about vaccines don't just pop up in a vacuum because of something they read online yesterday. Nope, these feelings are often deeply connected to long and sometimes painful histories of mistrust. Let me show you what I mean with a few examples. So, these studies reveal a totally different landscape. For some privileged mothers in the US, choosing not to vaccinate is all tied up in this larger project of intensive, highly individualized parenting. But then you go to Barbados, and it's not hesitancy, it's a deep suspicion born from a colonial past. Or for Somali refugees in the US, they're trying to make sense of what they see as a Western disease in the context of their experiences with racism in America. And this comparison just makes the difference crystal clear. One approach sees a behavior that needs to be fixed, the other seeks to understand a complex social reality. And, this shift in perspective, it opens the door to an even wider, more interesting view of the whole issue. A field called Science and Technology Studies, or STS, actually takes this even further. They ask us to stop seeing a vaccine as just a simple object, and instead to see it as a central point in a huge interconnected network. Now, the key idea here is called actor network theory. It sounds a little complicated, but the core concept is really cool. It says that objects, things like a vaccine or even a legal document, they aren't just passive. They are active agents, or actants, that actually do things in the world and shape the network around them. So what does that network even look like? Well, it's so much more than just a syringe and a clinic. Think about it. It's the patent laws that decide who can make it, the global supply chains that move it, the special cold storage technology needed to keep it from spoiling. It's even the specific wording on the information sheet you're handed by the nurse. All of these things are active parts of the network, and they all shape what a vaccine is and what it actually does in the world. So you might be thinking, okay, that's a lot of academic theory. Why does all of this matter? Why is this new, more complex map so important for everyone to understand? Here's why. Because the way we frame a problem determines the solutions we can even imagine. If we only see hesitancy, our only tool is persuasion, which, let's be honest, often fails. The old map is looking for a quick technical fix. But this new map, it opens the door to a much deeper and way more productive conversation. So the main thing you should take away from this is that by zooming out from that single goal of compliance, we can finally see all the things a narrow focus misses. The histories, the politics, the power dynamics. It shifts the goal from demanding trust to actually building it. And that leaves us with a final thought to chew on. If the questions we ask really do shape the answers we find, what other lopsided stories are we telling ourselves about the world? Something to think about. Thanks for joining us for this explainer.